Call, cry wolf.
Try to find the front that's.
But as soon as you start coming, I thought, oh yeah, you gotta click that double button.
We're going live.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone, we're reconvening.
All right.
Anybody
All right.
else?
Thank you, sir. Good to see you. Good to see you.
No.
All right, so we have everyone here. All right, then we'll move on to item 6.
Hold on, I didn't tell my life, I just realized.
All right, we'll move on to item 6, boards, commissions, committee and staff reports. Does anyone have any questions on those?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, can I just say that whatever motion you make, is you'll exclude the table from Mr. Blaha that was not supposed to be in there and it ended up in there. We
That report, okay, so we'll withdraw that
exclude that.
report. So we have a motion excluding that report and accepting everything else. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right, we'll move on to item 7, mayor's report. I would like to read a thank you essentially and an update that we put out on social media. As residents are all too aware, the city of Kewaunee experienced a major weather event on Tuesday, August 27th, including heavy rain as well as gale force winds that caused toppling of trees, some building damage, and wide-scale electrical service outages across the city. The event began in the late morning, and by noon, power was out across the city. Emergency assistance and clearing crews and public safety personnel stepped up to provide help to local residents, help to clear streets that had become impassable from downed trees and debris, and began the process of restoring basic functioning across the city. This effort was multi-jurisdictional, and the city wishes to acknowledge the following for their assistance and dedication to this service. City of Algoma Street Department crews and staff for their mutual aid to the city and assisting with clearing streets and subsequent cleanup. State Patrol for assisting the city with public safety calls. Kewaunee County Sheriff's Office and Dispatch for their dedication and working to assist with public safety calls. Kewaunee County Highway Department work crews and staff for their mutual aid to the city and assisting with clearing streets and subsequent cleanup. Wisconsin Public Service for their aggressive response to the electrical outages across the city. Kewaunee Fire Department staff for their dedication as on-call staff and assisting with clearing streets and handling fire calls during and after the storm. Kewaunee Police Department staff for their dedication to the safety of the city's residents and businesses. Kewaunee Public Works staff for jumping in to work on removing trees from streets and to begin and continue the cleanup efforts, which are continuing as you read this. All those volunteers who stepped up to help neighbors, provide water and resources to work crews, and showing that they care. Ramir Shagril and his employees at Center Court for the donation of water and other items, and to Janita Zimmerman for delivering those items to the work crews. And we've almost certainly failed to call out anyone who assisted during the storm or through the subsequent response. To those we've forgotten, thank you as well. As of noon on Thursday, August 29th, all but 2 customers were reported to have electrical service restored. So once again, I go out and thank everyone who helped in response. We were very fortunate that we had all of those people respond and that the outage was as short as it was and that the debris got cleared out. And to my knowledge, there wasn't anyone injured during that event. I know Kewaunee Ambulance continued to serve on their calls, but I don't believe any were responding to the incident. So
Not related.
that's all I have on our mayor's report tonight. Unfinished business, I believe there is none. Item 9, excuse me, new business. We're gonna skip 9A, open meeting law with the city attorney, so we'll move on to item 9B. Approve resolution number 2024-2045 in support of proposed purchase of tax parcels 31-241 GL 18 2-8, 31-241 SW 18 5-1, and 31-241 B and B3 by the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources.
Yeah, this, we just got the notice on August 16th. Property owned by Ms. Nickmeyer. She owns 3 parcels of land that she inherited from her father. They're almost all floodplain. And she offered to sell them to the DNR, and so they're communicating to this as required by law. We aren't necessarily required to provide a response, but we can give them a response that indicates we support the purchase. Just for your information, the tax assessment value for the 3 parcels is $20,200 total. So that results in a total tax of $159.26 to the city for 2024. As noted also in my write-up, DNR doesn't have to listen to us even if we object. They can do this anyway. And also, if you're wondering, she offered them for $35,000 and they accepted. So that's $35,000 for mostly floodplain.
I want to say something similar to this has occurred in the past. It was a formality.
It
that the
was
city acknowledged.
earlier this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing.
So are you calling for a motion then just to simply acknowledge and accept their?
Can authorize a resolution and support. That's.
So that's resolution. Okay. So what I would entertain a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. 8C, consider and approve, disapprove tuck pointing project for the Kewaunee Municipal Campus by RM Masonry LLC for $15,000 using available ARPA funds.
Yeah, staff's been working through trying to make improvements to the existing city facilities using the available ARPA funds we have left. This was discussed at the public property back in 2023 during a facility tour. We noticed that there were several areas of tuck pointing that were needed on the front end, the sides. There's also some spalling with bricks that hopefully will be repaired with this thing, along with lintel repairs, as well as some tuck pointing on the ambulance building, but the majority of the work would be done on this building. The proposal is for not to exceed $15,000, depending on the availability of water for the work from this building, which shouldn't be an issue, I don't think. As I mentioned, the public property previously discussed this. And we would be using funds from the ARPA fund, which is actually couched in a money market fund, which we can then transfer in to pay for this. Staff's recommending approval.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve using the $15,000 in available ARPA funds for the tuck pointing? Jeff?
No, Scott.
Oh, Scott, sorry. And who seconded?
Second.
Just want to clarify one thing, the ambulance building is the auxiliary ambulance fire share, not the ambulance building over here. Just
Thank you for that.
Okay.
All right, please call the roll.
Brown?
Yes.
Yep. Brewster?
Aye.
Anderson?
Aye.
Loftudo?
Aye.
Nelson?
Aye.
Conley?
Aye. Motion carried.
You're noticing I'm doing it differently than.
You are. Yes. Way to shake it up. It's really off, but I recovered.
Conley, here. Okay, motion carried. D, 8D, consider and approve, disapprove proposals for replacement security systems and doors at the Kewaunee Municipal Building using ARPA funds.
Okay, follow up to a decision we made last month, or council made last month. Staff expressed concern with the access security of the municipal building. Facility includes primarily doors with simple keyed access, which would be maintained with the approved replacement of doors by the Lakeland door that you did last month. But the building also has a keypad entry at the garage whose code hasn't been replaced in years. Result is that anyone either currently or formerly with the fire department or anybody else can access the building if they know that code. Staff considered a variety of options such as functional card access, but the simplest method is using a key fob, which would be coded by staff for access to various doors. Anyone lacking a fob would not have access to the building, and anyone who left city employment but failed to return the fob would simply be deactivated and they wouldn't be able to get in. This improves the overall security of the building, especially since particular areas such as evidence process room, police records that currently lack significant security measures prevent anyone from simply accessing by kicking the door in. Those are all hollow doors and it wouldn't take anything to knock them in. City received two proposals for the same general security system implementation. There's slight variations. First one is by Martin Systems. We actually have two quotes for each of these because the first one was to have access security for 4 doors accessed on the external side. So the front, one of these doors, the door back there, and then the garage door. The door next to the police department and then the garage door. That was security fob software support, which for them would be a monthly financial support after the first year at a cost of $11,897.75. And then they also provided an additional estimate for the second console door over here, which would be another $2,067.20. So the total proposal cost would be $13,964.95, which includes cloud support, cloud security support, so that you could have remote access in case we have a problem. They can do the remote access, key in something, let us in, or do whatever needs to be without having to show up here on site.
Just to interject on that, Heath, in the event that we have the disaster that we had and we don't have power, it would still be utilizing the keys, just so everyone's, we would still have key holders, designated key holders, police department, city hall staff.
Yeah, there's battery backup on, there's a short battery. Backup.
There is battery back, okay. Okay, good, thank you for that.
We'd also have default key access if we needed to get into the building. So some people having master keys can still get in. The other quote is for additional security measures for 3 doors at the request of the police department, including the same support system. That number I actually have wrong. They told me the actual number is $8,904.38 for that because they included tax, but then they didn't factor in the cost of the 5th door. So including the cost of the 5th door gets you to $8,904. So just to compare the two. The boss lock and security system estimates for the same 2 systems. The difference between the two is that Martin does a cloud-based security system, Boss does not. So everything would be on site. So if there's a problem, they would have to come to the site to actually do any kind of service call.
We requested, I think there'd be a slight, I can't remember about what the charge was, but we heard that it could just be an easy addition. Boss could do an app style where whoever you would designate as the head person could do a lot of this remotely from their phone as well. It's just they don't do the cloud base like Martin was offering. I mean, Martin can do the other system as well from what they had said, but they're highly recommending the cloud base just because you'll save on the service call. You don't have to have someone show up to your campus to fix or give you support. You can have someone that's sitting in their office, log in, hey, this is what you have wrong, and they usually don't charge much of anything at all.
So what is the total of everything in this ask?
Okay, so let me look at the numbers one more time here. Martin Systems, if you go with both quotes to do both the internal and the external, comparing the two, Martin would cost you 22,869.33. If you do boss lock and security, hang on, I got the numbers wrong here again. Martin Systems price would be 21,799.01. Boss lock and security would be about
I don't see the second one.
about 17,900 for both estimates.
What does staff recommend? We've got the cloud versus non-cloud, but
I'll let them do the talking at this
Yeah.
point because I'm not entirely sure.
So boss lock, I got the recommendation, or I wouldn't say recommendation. I got supplied the contact information from the company that's giving me my doors, Lakeland Door. They work with them quite frequently. Smaller company, couple people. Sounded like they've also provide good support. Martin, obviously a larger company, they're more well-known. They installed a lot of the security, I believe they even did the county's sheriff's department building, if I'm not mistaken. The cloud based is intriguing to me, just because you can prevent someone having to show up on site just to troubleshoot what potentially that's a problem. One of their head employees lives right here in town on Dodge Street.
Martin's?
Yes. So you do have a local pride, I guess, that would go into the workmanship, and if I understood Cody right, I believe, or Corey, he would be doing more of the install. There was a monthly fee for the cloud base, the first year's waived, after that, I forgot what you said, remember, it was like $50 or
It's
something like that.
52.95 per month for the first year if you do all 5 doors.
It's
So-
kind of a,
First year, then what?
let's just continue this with the cloud base, because you're paying for that cloud service.
Right, but
First
he
year
said
is
for the
free.
first
Well, first year
year,
it's
first
like-
year's free and then
First year's free,
52.
And after that, their proposal lists about 52.95 for all the doors. Cloud access.
So that cloud access, that allows us to identify who came in a door at what time, how many times.
You should be able to do it with both systems.
Yeah,
The only difference is, it'll be a local network. That Ross will have to work with these companies either which way. I'm gonna get Ross involved with whether it's Martin or whether it's Boss. Incorporate that onto our local, would be on our network, but with the network, you know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Yep.
Martin is gonna be, you could do it from the cloud. If you wanted to, you could set up people to do their or on the cell phones and change access to locks. Whoever's authorized, you can do the same thing with Boss through an app, not on the cloud, so. The pro of the cloud is you're paying a monthly fee, but you're not gonna have to pay a service fee for them to troubleshoot your system. I guess you with the cloud.
It just depends on whether or not the monthly fee is valuable to avoid a service cost and what would that cost, because we have to do, say, 2 of those a year.
But in theory, both systems should be able to track who was in, who came through at what time, and that's where we thought it'd be very valuable for the police department, you know, who got in that door, who was in the evidence room at one time, et cetera, et cetera. It's just you're going a larger scale company versus a small scale company, so I'm assuming that's probably where we're getting the difference in folks. One is cloud based, so there's probably a little more startup into it, and then you're paying that monthly fee, but.
I mean, I know Martin's been around a long time. And I mean, I also know I have been involved with different companies through the years and all of a sudden they're not there. They just go away. And that's a pretty bad feeling if you're invested in a company providing services that get technical and computers and such.
For the, just to keep going with it, both companies adding on doors at a later time, not a big deal. I believe with the Marks, the community one, we can have up to 52 doors on the system that they would, that's their lowest or smallest size system, so. We could have up to 52 doors, yeah, I could go either which way. You have smaller company, cheaper, you have parking, a little larger. Like you made a good point, you know, longevity wise, are they both gonna be around? I would think Martin's will be around for sure. I can't really attest to, I don't know the history of their companies.
1987, they started with their registered locksmith, so they're not, that short-lived.
Okay, my thing is with the cloud, does that make you more vulnerable? Is an app more?
They
You
do
know.
that, they do that same cloud system with a lot of these jails, sheriffs.
No, I know, but I'm, in just with the accesses, I was just wondering if an app would make it more, I don't know. You know what I'm asking, Scott?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, you don't think,
I just think my thought would be, or my question would be, how much would we really need it? I mean, how often, of course, when we had our disaster here, that would have been probably a prime time, but other than that,
And the turnover, you know. if you've been frequent-
well, when you disconnect or you just disable one and
Right.
activate another, I wouldn't
It
think
should
that
be
would,
relatively
that
simple,
should be
but-
pretty simple.
I mean, you know, you can look at Robin's police cams, that used to be an on-site network, now that everything's getting switched over to the cloud, so is that gonna be the way of the future with even?
Well, yeah, of
bosses?
course it is, cause it's $50 a month. They just get you for nothing. I mean, that's where I'm going with it. It's $50 for absolutely no use.
Fees.
right,
Just,
I know, and it's like,
that's my opinion.
Brandon brought up a good point as well. The cloud base might be useful if we do incorporate this in other buildings, instead of having to try to hook this network up with that network. You know, like hardwired. Let's say we put these things on the street department next year. And
Your pump houses, your
Or your pump
wastewater
houses.
plant.
Marina.
and Stuff like that,
Marina.
or other facilities that are city owned, that would be the one big difference I would think. looking
That's
at
a
the
big capability that we would have.
like I
Does
said,
it go
that's-
up?
The Martin system said I wanna say it was 52 doors we could have on the hard drive I'm gonna call it.
That's the same fee per month, I think Kathy was asking then. It'd be-
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it was.
I mean, sure, it can go up 3% in 5 years, but
Well, I'm sure it is.
not per door.
What doesn't get noticed?
Okay, any other questions? If not, what do you guys think?
I gave you a series of possible motions because I didn't have a recommendation to give you. So you can move to propose, approve one of these two sets. You can move to forward to somebody, the standing committee for further discussion. You can make no motion or continue to the next meeting, or whatever you choose to do.
Personally, I'd be looking for a motion to choose one of the two. I think we've got enough information here. We should be able to decide to move forward. We're utilizing ARPA funds. And I wouldn't pinpoint the exact dollar amount. I would entertain a motion for one of these contractors and a dollar amount not to exceed X. Whatever that X is based on the contractor selected. Anybody leaning to one contractor or another?
I guess I'm leaning toward Martin Hardware. I mean,
Well,
we had them when we were at Harbor Lights and, you know, for some stuff and they were always came through.
Well, if we're going to be spreading it, that's, I mean, obviously, if you're gonna be putting this other places.
We
then it
we at least
makes
have the
sense.
capability.
The
You know.
potential's there, and that's Brandon did, that is a very valid point.
Yeah, it is. It's huge.
What would that amount be then, Heath, to not exceed that I'd be looking for Martin? You threw out two different numbers and I can't read what I wrote now.
Well, the number I had for the quotes was 21,799.01, but you want to go up to 25?
Well, what's on your actual quotes should be your high amount, because what would happen is if we don't want to do both doors here, which we can make that choice later, because the only benefit of doing both doors is you could literally key into both of them. If we have it on this door, you simply key in, grab the Allen wrench, open that door from the inside and save yourselves $2,000. So
That's what I would recommend.
that's the difference. I want to point out is that 13,000 for City Hall is really 11 if you don't do that option. With Boss Lock, they showed it as, okay, here's the rate, but they never put it in the total, you know, because it was an option. It wasn't on there. So that's the difference. So I would then.
Yeah, the number, if you use Martin, would be, I would say, not to exceed 22.
So that, let me get this straight. That's for both doors or one
That
door?
would be for both. We can knock that down and take that $2,000 off.
That not to exceed includes both doors, but if we don't do both doors, it'll come down, so it won't be that high.
I just wonder, wouldn't it pay to do both doors instead of just
Everyone's
going,
good. It's okay. That is
I don't-
everybody.
you know, it's like putting a brand new door on.
You guys come through these doors just as often as I do. The front doors are maybe a little more frequent, but.
Did you have, this doesn't have the ADA stuff on it.
The ADA openers are with the Lakeland quote.
Lakeland door, we
Yep.
was authorized last month.
Yeah, so then we already approved that one.
Motion not to exceed 22,000.
Not to exceed 22,000 with Martin Hardware is what I'm hearing.
Second.
You made the motion. We have a motion and we have a second. Any discussion?
One question. Does the system give you the status of whether the doors are locked or not locked?
I believe so. Because that was the question we came to your office door, is that if someone turned the,
Manually.
yeah, it would show that it's open all the time. So yes, it should show you. You can actually set time frames with this on that, with these apps.
I
Where
was just thinking about that second door then, because then if that one gets keyed open, your system says everything's locked out,
that.
but one of the
It's
doors.
Martin
it's
Systems.
an electric striker. Once that electric striker closes, it should. The only one that would get overrun is the one that would be per office door, because it actually has the mechanical turn knob. The rest of these, it should electric strike closed, where you can still open it with a key if you had to override it, but does that make sense?
Yeah.
Can you open these doors from the front office? Like, let's just say, we come up with a new protocol, 9 o'clock in the morning, we want these doors open
They should be able to-
automatically.
You just log into that app or that system, you should be able to say this.
Okay, so it's got the capability.
I believe,
Okay.
to my knowledge, I'm not an expert on it, but that's what I understand.
Schedule lock / unlock times for each door at a holiday level as well.
Yeah, cause
And
Tony does
events,
that.
and events as well.
Any other questions?
You can give whoever you'd like to have the authority to manually run it on the phone yourself.
All right, so we have a motion for Martin Security Systems not to exceed $22,000. We have a motion and a second. If there is no further discussion, please call the roll.
Conley,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Offido,
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Wooster.
Aye.
Wow,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Motion carried. 8E, approve request from the Friends of the Pierhead Lighthouse, Kewaunee Pierhead Lighthouse, to paint the external lower level of the lighthouse.
Russ brought this forward to me, as has been past practice when the Friends nonprofit organization comes through with any repairs or improvements to the lighthouse, council signs off on it since you're technically the owners. They've authorized John Cruz to paint the lower level or the metal sheeting of the lighthouse, which will be done sometime later this fall. Proposed painting will be an aesthetic maintenance effort to improve the outside appearance. Proposed cost for this work is $10,236, which will be paid entirely by the nonprofit. Staff recommends approval.
Nathan, you're familiar with the product and the application, and that's meets your expectations?
I honestly didn't get a chance to read.
Okay. You want to add, whatever? No?
Committee's gonna pay for it, so I make a motion to approve it.
Okay.
I'll second.
So, did you make a motion already? Right? Okay, we have a motion and a second.
We're trying the real ones.
I get it. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carried. Thank you to the Friends of the Kewaunee Pierhead Lighthouse. 8F, approved payment application 1 to Michael's Construction Incorporated for tug bollard project in the amount of $160,416.75.
If you'll recall last fall, or at least those of you who were here, the city issued a bid advertising the repair of the two bollards, the pilings around the kingpins. They're the anchor point for the tug Ludington. Pilings are coming apart around the pin and need a repair and replacement. Michael's Construction won the bid with a proposed price of $164,530, which actually was well below the estimated cost. Due to DNR restrictions on work done on the waterway, the earliest work had commenced was June 15th. Work has subsequently been completed. They submitted their influence for payment pending some minor pavement repairs from work done in proximity to the park walkway. The attached payment was provided by the city engineer following successful completion of the work. Note that this work is being funded via Harbor Assistance Program grant, which is awarded to the city 2022 actually. Or rather, 80% of it will be reimbursed following submission to DOT for payment. The authorization withholds $4,113.25 in order to keep the contract open for any miscellaneous repairs. Also to see if WSDOT would authorize reimbursement of some fenders that could be installed on the pilings to extend the life of the structures that they just replaced. The cost of those is estimated to be about $4,000 to $5,000. We're just waiting to hear back from the HAP grant administrator if we could cover those, because then if we can, we'll come back to you for a quick change order install, and then they'll get it done, and then we can file for complete reimbursement. And as soon as we hear from that, then we'll process it forward. But at this point, we're just recommending approval of payment application number 1 for the amount requested.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Brown? All right, so we have a motion to approve payment application number 1 to Michael's Construction, the amount of $160,416.75. Is there any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Brown?
Yes.
Blaha? Brewster?
Aye.
Anderson?
Aye.
Oftedal?
Yes.
Nelson?
Aye.
Conley?
Motion carried. 8G, financial report for July 2024. If there are no additions or corrections, I would entertain a motion to approve as submitted.
I'll second.
Scott. Any further discussion? Please call the roll. I did last month.
Oftedal?
Aye.
Nelson?
Aye.
Conley?
Aye.
Brown?
Yes.
Blaha? Brewster?
Aye.
Anderson? Aye. Just thought I'd mix it up even more.
Motion carried. Seeing as though there are no announcements, right, Robin?
No, there's another.
There is one, okay.
Quickly, August 14th, I attended the Chamber of Commerce meeting.
Oh, that's right.
Topic was the July 3rd fireworks for 2025. Sorry, and the chamber was discussing whether or not they could generate funding to continue the tradition of the fireworks. At that meeting, they had a local business owner who wanted to kind of hear what are some of the proposals. 2024, the show was approximately a 15-minute show. They went through and got a quote from Spielbauer Fireworks out of Green Bay, who is a vendor from this area that does a lot of the community fireworks. They are proposing a 25-minute show for next year, including insurance, operations, all the associated fees with it. When they proposed that to the potential sponsor and what they would be looking for, that business said they would be very interested in doing it. So over the course of August and probably the early part of September, that business owner is going to come back to the chamber, just kind of hear out final details and stuff. But they just wanted me to come back to chamber and report back that it looks like everything will be in order to be able to hold fireworks July 3rd, 2025.
Wonderful.
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Okay, we have a motion. Who's second? Figures. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Aren't you gonna call a roll?
Oh, and FYI, at some point, we're gonna have possibly an issue for discussion. We had
Hang on 1 second.
we have,
This getting out of here is
Takes a while to exit.
a problem.